So now we are up in the attic because there's no basements in South Carolina. So this is a heat pump. In my old house, I had a furnace and it was downstairs, but both the coils are the same. So we're gonna open this bottom part and expose the inside of the coil because we're gonna be cleaning the inside of this coil today. So you're gonna take your soft bristle brush and you're gonna get in there and get any dust and debris off the inside of this coil. Now mine doesn't have any because I already cleaned it. I'm just showing you this for reference. So open your coil, look in there. If you see dust, a bunch of that, that's probably normal. So take your brush and let's get that out of there. So you're gonna use a soft to medium bristle brush and a shop vac. Do not use a hard bristle brush or anything that's gonna bend those aluminum coils, because how your air gets cold is the air goes through this coil, and if all those fins are bent up, it's not gonna go through and it's gonna ruin your system. So make sure to use a soft to medium bristle brush. Whenever you stick your bristle brush in there, go up and down, don't go side to side, go with the fins. We are now looking at our blower motor, which we also might need to clean off. Now look in there, if the fins have any dust buildup on it, take your brush, stick it in there, knock that dust off, and then vacuum this out. These fins are made out of steel, so you don't have to be as careful as you would with the aluminum coil. So if you haven't already, use a shop vac and vacuum all the water out of that pan underneath the heat pump. Well, now that we have that all vacuumed out with our shop vac, I'm now looking at our drain, which is what caused the problem. So what happened is my system was working twice as hard because it was super hot and humid out. And at that point, it was producing a lot more condensation / water, which my drain was already halfway clogged up. So once that happened, it wasn't draining fast enough and it backed up in my pan, as you see underneath the unit. That's a safety pan for the water if this happens. It filled this all the way up and dripped over the side. So what I had to do was get up there and unclog that. So I took it apart because it wasn't glued in a few spots. I took it outside and I hosed all this gunk out. After that, I came, put it back together, and then I used some Drano, as I'll show you next, and I poured the Drano in there to help get any excess gunk out also. I put my dehumidifier up there to help get any excess water out of the air. Alright, so now we're outside at our outside unit. That screw I just touched, that's the upper lip. Take all the screws out of the upper lip only. And then let's go ahead and turn this power off. So pull this out and set it on top. When you pull this out, it's gonna turn the power off to the unit, which is very important. Make sure to turn this power off. So after we turn the power off, let's take all the screws out that top lip, and then we're gonna pick this whole top off and we're gonna place it to the side. Now be careful because it's connected by wires and it only can be pulled so far. So just place it where you can or have somebody else hold it. I'm able to set it against my house. So after you do that, then you're gonna take your hose and spray this inside coil all the way out. Maybe start on the outside and get the big part off and then move to the inside with your hose and spray all the coils out. Now be careful, use a jet spray, but make sure it's not spraying that hard. Now if your jet spray is too hard, use a different spray that's not as abrasive. If you bend these inside coils up, you're gonna ruin your system. So don't spray it too hard where it's gonna bend the aluminum coils. The whole point of it is the air to be going through the coils easily so it can make the system work a lot easier. That's why we're getting the dust off. But if you bend these coils up, there's a good chance you could ruin the whole system or just make it work extremely hard and not work as well as it would. I usually like to start at the top of the coil and spray and then work my way down, getting as much dust and debris off this coil as I can. Now if you can do this on your own, I would definitely suggest doing it. You're gonna save yourself a lot of money. I've been with businesses and heard them give prices of over $300 just to clean this outside, the inside, coil, and the blower motor fan. That's all they did. It took them about 30 minutes to an hour. They were done, and they made over $300. So even if you got to pay the neighbor 20 bucks, 30 bucks to hold that top for about 5 minutes while you spray this out, I would definitely suggest doing it if you can, because you're going to save good money, and you're also going to keep your system running a lot longer. So I'm not going to recommend this, but I watched numerous people just set that top with the wires holding it onto the side, and it worked fine. But I'm not going to recommend doing that. So while putting your top on, don't get too frustrated. It might take you a few minutes. Just be patient and get it back on correctly. So now that it's back on, I, for a safety measure, waited 30 minutes for it to dry off a little bit. I don't know if that's necessary, but I would suggest doing the same. So once the unit dried off, I'm going to go ahead and turn this power back on, and we're good to go. Again, the reason why we're cleaning these coils is to get any dust and debris off so the system can work a lot easier and smoother. It'll give the system a much longer life. So now we're back up in the attic with our Drano. I'm going to go ahead and pour a little bit of this Drano in this drain, let it sit for about 15 or 20 minutes. Then I'm going to come back up with some warm/hot water, and I'll pour it down the drain to help push any of that gunk out. Prior to moving to South Carolina, which I've been living here for 3 years, I never had to clean my drain like this. So I believe in the South, it produces some type of gunk that causes more drain buildup. But anyways, you get you some Drano or a drain cleaner and pour that in there to help get rid of that. I've already had to do it at my shop 2 times and in my house 1 time. But you're gonna clean your filters and your coils more than in your drains on most occasions. The coils, I would suggest cleaning those at least once a year, if not twice a year. But the other stuff, like your filters, you need to change your filters possibly every month, maybe every 2 to 3 months. But I would suggest changing your filters at least 4 times a year. If you don't do this, your whole system is going to burn out way quicker, and it's not going to work as good. I'm just using this little piece of foam to get that pipe off of the wood. I'll come back up and wrap the whole thing and tape it up in the future, but right now I'm just going to stick this under there to help out. Prior to this unit, all the units that I worked on were in basements, were in what we call a furnace. Now the coil is on top. You see where those 2 copper pipes go in? That's your coil. So you're going to want to take that bottom part off, and you can also I would take both, the top and bottom off, and anywhere there's dust on that coil, knock it off, vacuum it off. Now I'm inside. This is my inside filter. This is a reusable filter. First time I've had one of these. But just take this outside, spray it off with a hose. Get all the dust off. So we got all the dust off, we let that one dry, we put it back in there. We're gonna go ahead and take the other filter out. My system has 2 filters. So this filter is one that I would just buy from the hardware store. After I use it 1 time, we're gonna throw this one away. Alright, so that's it. Just make sure to remember, let's change our filters at least every 3 months, if not more. Our blower motor, we're gonna clean that if necessary. You might not have to clean those fins, but you're gonna need to clean your inside and outside coil at least once a year, and also pour some drain cleaner at least once a year. If you do these things, your system is gonna last a lot longer.